Hello, guys. Welcome to our locker room talk show. We're with Noel Pascual and me, Arthur De La Rosa. Today, we're here with Anita Siraki. She is a local legend here in Glendale. How are you, Anita?
I'm doing well. How about you, Art?
Good. Welcome to our show.
Hi Anita, how are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, maybe you can
Um,
tell us a little. Well, go ahead. No,
Go
maybe
ahead. No,
tell.
no, go ahead, Art.
I
No,
was
go
gonna
ahead.
ask. Maybe you can tell us a little bit something about yourself. Like, how do people know you? Like,
So now they know me as the girl with the two cute dogs. But in my
Yes,
past,
I've met them.
yeah, in my past life, I ran cross country and track, and I did it really well. And I don't think I realized it until, you know,
mhm.
a decade later. But that's what I was known for.
Okay. And so to just kind of let the viewers know, I live in Glendale, California, and I know you're a local legend here in Glendale because you went to Hoover High School, which is the rival school from where we live because where my kids played sports at Glendale High School. So I know Hoover very well because they're the rival school. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got started in track?
That's a great story. And I actually was supposed to go to Glendale High, uh,
Okay.
but we moved to the other side of Glendale at the end of my eighth grade year. And I was super, super sad about it. I tried to get permits and none of it worked. But in junior high, I used to beat all the boys when we would do laps in PE. And my PE coaches would ask, Anita, are you going to do cross country in high school? And I remember looking at them like, oh my goodness, that sounds awful. Like, who wants to go cross country? And so since we moved, I kind of missed the sports sign up, but I used to rollerblade around the neighborhood and my brother would ride his bike. And I remember one day we were going by the Hoover High track and I saw some kids running. So I was like, my brother's name is also Art. So I was like, Art, I'm going to go talk to these kids. And he's like, okay. So I talked to them. They're like, come to practice tomorrow at 5. And I was like, okay, cool. So I showed up the next day, ran really well. And I don't think I had to do tryouts. I was running with the varsity girls. And it all started in the summer of 98, I think.
Okay. So you just started running with the varsity girls and you didn't even have to try out. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm blessed with good athletic genes. When I was like 2 years old, I remember I became obsessed with gymnastics. I used to watch the Olympics on TV. And I begged my mom, please put me in gymnastic lessons. And she told me, she's going to hate that I'm repeating this, but she was like, gymnastics isn't a girly sport. I want you to do ballet. And I am, Noelle probably knows this. I'm like a really stubborn person. So I begged her. And finally, when I was 5, I started gymnastics. And I did that for 5 years. And on the playground when I was a kid, I was always the one who like made obstacle courses at the park. So I had a really active background.
So did you actually do ballet before you did gymnastics?
No, I didn't do ballet.
Okay.
When I was little, I thought ballet was the stupidest thing. And I actually did it as an adult in my 20s.
Oh, okay.
I was horrible at it. I remember we were doing like it was like a, what is it called? Beginner adult class. So I could do the basics, but when we started doing the twirls, I remember the instructor saw me do it and she's like, Anita, you may want to sit this next.
I wonder how that looked like.
I know, right? That's what I was wondering. I'm like, holy crap! Like,
Well, so when you did do gymnastics, was there a particular sport or event in gymnastics that
Uh,
you focused on?
no, so I did it at the YWCA in Glendale, right there
Uh-huh.
across from the Whole Foods now.
Yes. Uh-huh.
We did we did the uneven bars, we did the
Mhm.
rings, we did the balance beam, mat, and vault. So it was like we did all of it, and
Uh-huh.
at the end of each season there was like a competition,
Uh-huh.
um which I would always win.
Oh, nice.
I have a stack of like blue ribbons. um,
Mhm.
but yeah, it wasn't there wasn't an event. And I remember my coach Kathy had told my mom that they should put me in like an Olympic development camp, but
Mhm.
my family didn't have the resources, so I just stayed
Um,
at the Y. But I loved it.
Mhm.
okay.
Mhm.
Well, out of those different events, was there like a favorite that you preferred to do or you liked?
um, I really like the balance beam.
Okay.
uh and back then I had a lot more balance than I do now.
Mhm.
But yeah, we would do like cartwheels and roll
Uh-huh.
on the balance
Yeah,
beam, and
that's
I
tough.
it's
Yeah.
really tough.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that would have been my favorite.
What about a least favorite?
Ooh, I didn't have a least favorite.
Okay.
I would think about this a lot, like if I did move forward, what would be my event, and I don't
Mhm.
know which one I
Mhm.
would pick because
Oh, okay.
they're all really fun.
So does that transition any of those events transition to track uh, in particular or not necessarily?
I actually thought about that because I'm still really flexible, and I think it
Uh-huh.
comes from doing gymnastics in my youth because
Uh-huh.
we had to do a lot of stretches. You need flexibility to do a lot of the events properly. So I think it stuck with me and helped me.
Oh,
In
interesting.
yeah,
So then you mentioned earlier you were running and you were beating all the boys. So did the boys hate you at that point in the middle school? Or did you get more popular because of it?
I think they resented me a little bit, but it wasn't always. I didn't always do it because in middle school I liked walking with my friends. So when we'd have to do laps, I'd end up walking. And I remember one of my coaches, Mr. Knapp, was like, Anita, you need to stop doing that. You need to run. And I remember like, I don't know, I was like, he's so annoying, but he's right. So after he talked to me, I put in more of an effort. But
Oh,
you know,
okay.
you're a young kid, you
Yeah.
want to have fun with your friends.
Yeah, that's right.
You wanna like blend in, right? You don't want
Yeah.
to stand out or yeah. So I know you have some local records. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Um, yeah, I actually haven't checked which records I still have.
Okay.
After I left, there were a few amazing girls that came in, and like
Uh-huh.
my proudest record was my Mount Staff, and
Okay.
it was broken by Amber Trotter the year after. Um, and then I think someone else, two other people broke her record. But there's a park in La Crescenta that has a course that I think I may still have the record. I don't know.
Mhm.
But let's see. Yeah, I don't remember.
Oh no, that's fine. So the Mount Sac, was that in high school? Obviously, when you were in high school, was that like one of the events that you guys would compete in?
Yeah, so Mount Sac has one of the like hardest cross country courses in the nation, and it's kind of notorious because there's three giant hills, um, like really steep.
Yeah.
So they had like no one had broken the record for a really long time. And I remember the day of that race that I broke the record. It was my senior year in high school. I felt really, really bad. And I would get horrible allergies in high school. And I couldn't tell if it was like allergies or the flu or a cold. So I remember my coach was taking me to the race. And I was like, Coach, I don't feel good. I'm going to warm up. And if I don't feel good, I'm not racing. And he was like, no problem. So I warmed up, I felt okay, and ran and broke the record by, I forget, 20 or 30 seconds.
Wow.
Wow. And this is with the flu, right?
Yeah, it was with the flu, you guys.
Wait, this sounds like a Michael Jordan when he was playing in that game. And
Championship.
sounds like the flu game. So this is the flu run.
Yeah, I wish I was that badass, but my version of a Michael Jordan.
Oh, okay. And then I know you also eventually went to Stanford.
I did.
And ran for Stanford. So can you tell us a little bit the process from the transition between high school to Stanford? And also Stanford is not just your run-of-the-mill university, and not everybody can go to Stanford. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so when I was in high school, my high school was close to Canyon Country High because my coach had coached their coach when he was in high school. So we'd go to Mammoth, and at Canyon, there was an amazing runner named Lauren Fleshman who still competes professionally. And she was like my running hero. I looked up to her. I thought she was freaking fantastic. And she went to Stanford. And then my year in high school, there was me, Sarah Craig, Sarah Bay, who's now Sarah Hall, and then Alicia Craig. And we all were the top athletes in the nation. So we all actually ended up at Stanford. And it was really cool, like going in with girls that I competed against, because we all became friends. Like there is a camaraderie in sports that is like no other. Like I just love that. So we were ranked, we were always ranked in the top 1 or 2 when I was there, and we won nationals 1 year together. But the transition was a lot harder than I thought it would be. And I remember my coach was telling me, you know, it's different when you go into college, you know, you're away from your family, it's a different life, blah, blah, blah. So for me, it was really difficult, especially because my parents got divorced like 10 days before I left for university. And I didn't understand the emotional toll things like that can have on people. But yeah, the transition was slightly difficult, but I remember I was like, I'm not giving up. So I had a lot of ups and downs, but a highlight moment was when I had qualified for USA trials in the 10K.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I did it at the Stanford Invitational, which is the spring season opener for track. And I remember, you know, the whole team's like out on the track and in the stands cheering. But I'll never forget seeing my coach, who was Dina Evans, and then our track coach, Coach Florial, like cheering me on, and just like looking at their faces and seeing the joy was like amazing.
Wow. So you said that you had that your competitors in high school became your teammates in college, right? So that would, I guess, how did that feel? I know you said camaraderie and everything, but how does it feel where you have a rival and then all of a sudden it's your teammate?
That's a good question. Like I never like looked at them as rivals. I looked at them as my friends, you know? So
even when you were competing with them?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like in between meets and stuff, we would all like email each other, check in. And so there was not a feeling of rivalry. It was exciting. It was awesome to be in an environment with these different women who had achieved so much. I thought it was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so if that was...
I know that's boring. I wish I had
no,
a story of them like surprising me.
No, that's what it is, right? It is what it is. But that's actually interesting because yeah, it would make the transition a lot easier because you were actually already friends with them. And I noticed too, like, so my sport was basketball, but what I noticed too is like in the NBA now versus back then. Now they're friends, even though they're playing against each other. They're friends after the games, and even now they try to they try to go on the same team because they're friends. But back in the old days, like in the 80s and earlier, they would like hate each other, or they wouldn't even like talk to each other. So that's why that's where that question came from. But that's interesting, and it's actually, like you said, it made the transition easier because you already saw them as friends. So I'm sorry, Art, you were gonna say something?
Forgot actually.
Oh.
Well, I was gonna say that. Yeah, like with the friendship thing, like, because of course I don't know, like we don't know how that is like. 'Cause, like you say, they're like your competitors or your rivals. So during the meet, you always want to try to beat them, right? So I know it's different when like they're your friends. Do you still have that, like like you want to beat them, you want to, like, between friends,
Yeah.
I mean, is that
That's a good point, Art. Like, come race day, because we wouldn't all race each other that frequently, which is, I think, what helped us not be so, like, contentious.
Yeah.
We would race in the postseason, so, like, at regionals and nationals.
Okay.
But in those meets, I do remember I was like, I'm going to do my best, I'm going to kick butt. But it wasn't like the rivalries in basketball in the 80s.
Okay,
yeah. Yeah. Obviously not. Yeah.
Way more boring, way more PG.
And there's no like physical contact, so you can't really. Yeah. So is it more like competing with yourself in a sense that you just want to do the best that you can do, and no matter what somebody else does, as long as I run, the fastest or the best that I can do, then that's basically it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It was more of like me against the clock. Like, I knew what I was capable of. I knew the markers I was hitting in training. So I knew what my race times should be. And fortunately, a lot of the time I would do a lot better in the race than I had projected in my workouts. So
wow, that's good.
Yeah, and I think we all kind of operated in that way, It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to beat so-and-so. It was like, I know what my capabilities, projections are. I want to beat that.
So, like, if somebody right now wanted to go into track, like, let's say a little girl from middle school or elementary school and maybe even high school, what is the best training that they can do for track? Is it like running uphill, running up the mountain? What would you recommend?
So a lot of it depends on the person's like body composition, because for me, I have no fast twitch muscles, so I can't sprint. If my life depended on it, I would die. But I can run high speeds at a long. Yeah, exactly. So I have slow twitch. I can do it. So for me, what I did was I ran high volume of mileage, and then I would make sure I did speed workouts in between to kind of trigger it. But like one of the girls I competed against, so I would run anywhere between like 65 and 100 miles a week in high school. Wow. And then there was another girl who was my competitor in high school who ran the similar times, but she would run 35 miles a week. But her training was more focused on sprint training. So she would do shorter, faster things. So my advice would be figure out what your muscle composition is and cater to your strengths, but also like sprinkle in help for your weaknesses.
Okay. And then as far as like, so you and I are, local here in Glendale, and Art's actually not too far, right? He's in Arcadia. Is that right? Or Monrovia?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so is there like a place locally that you would run or practice, like maybe the Rose Bowl or something like that?
I love the Rose Bowl, but my favorite place to run is they're the mountain biking trails behind Brand Park.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
On hiking there.
they have hiking trails there, and some people do mountain biking. Okay.
Yeah. And one of my favorite memories of running was one Thanksgiving break. I was home from college and I had to do a 16-mile long run, and I was like, I'm just gonna go in the mountains, and it was rainy. So I'm running, and it's all clouds, and I'm going up the hills and it's all fog. But then at one point
nice, yeah.
I break through the fog.
Clouds?
And I
Oh,
look
really?
down,
Wow.
and it's like a cushion of cloud all over it.
Oh,
And it was,
wow.
yeah, the feeling of I don't know, beauty that I
Yeah.
felt in that moment. So
Did you take a picture of that?
no, this was, this was like almost
Oh, there's no picture. Didn't happen.
exactly.
Like
This is before the iPhone, right?
for the iPhones, yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
I
had my
believe you. I
little
believe you.
dingy BlackBerry.
Yeah.
But that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah,
it
it
sounds
is.
like you're running through the
Memorable.
clouds, right?
Yeah.
Or you're cloud nine, so to speak, right?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
can imagine.
Yeah, because what's interesting, I don't know if you're familiar with that art, because we're here in Glendale, but that Brand Park, I think that you can start in Glendale, but you can actually end up in Burbank or like in the Tuna Canyon or like in Sunland, right? I think it goes different.
Yeah, like she said, that's the bike trail thing, right?
Yeah.
People don't actually run there. I mean, unless they're Anita.
Yeah, that's crazy like me.
It's like, well, where's her bike? Like the bike is probably passing by. It's like, is she okay? I mean, she's running.
Yeah, she's passing the bike, right?
I'll tell you guys though, I would when I was going up, I would pass a lot of bikers that were, biking up, and watching people bike up those trails. I don't know how they do it because it's like pretty steep. And like by the time I'd get to, sometimes I'd run along the ridge at the top, going towards Burbank. But by the time I was coming down, they were still barely going to the top. So
Yeah, wow.
kudos
I think that's how you became a legend.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing too is my friend now, I don't know back then, but my friend now, he does mountain biking, but he has an e-bike. I'm like, oh, that's cheating. So he has an electric bike. Yeah, so well, you're not really doing the work. So I don't know if that was what they were doing back then, but yeah, my friend has an e-bike.
Actually, those are gonna ask her. Maybe we can. She can run, and then we can ride our bikes.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
When I was in high school and I would go running, a lot of times I would have to run twice a day. So when I would run later, my parents didn't really want me out alone. So my brother Art would ride his bike with me.
Oh, okay, did you?
there you go.
Cool.
Yeah, he accompanied me. It was fun.
And he would get tired, right?
He would. I would push him on the uphills.
But so, is he like a lot younger than you?
4 years younger.
Oh, okay, so not that much. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, because I think he told me he's supposed to take my class. I've been waiting for him to take my class.
No, that's my other brother.
I'm sorry.
That's my other
That's
brother.
your other brother.
Oh, that's the other one. Oh, okay.
That's Kevin. Yeah, he's 16 years younger.
He's the one that's a lot younger, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay, Art, do you want to do the little spiel?
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Art's gonna
That's
do.
right. Well, follow us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, My Blitz, and also our locker room. Instagram is the Locker Room Talk Show. Please follow us, subscribe, and this video is also going to be on YouTube. So follow us and also subscribe. Thank you. All right, Anita. Yeah, Noel.
So after Stanford, did you keep like running like just for fun or recreationally or anything like that?
No, I stopped running because I developed chronic fatigue syndrome. So for the longest time, I couldn't run. Like my body was just not capable. So I did a lot of like lifestyle changes, got myself back to being able to run, but I can only run like short distances now and not that fast. So it's not fun for me anymore because I can't go. I miss the days where I could just like go out the door and go for like a 20-mile run, you know?
Okay. So how is, because you know how like the regular person or normal people, they would go and run like a marathon or maybe a mini marathon or a half marathon. How is that different, or is that the same? How is it different, or how is it the same from running track?
Ooh, track is unique in that, like, as a cross country runner, it's very weird because I did long distances. So like my events were the 5K and the 10K in track. So the 5K is like 12.2 laps around the track. And then the 10K was, I can't even remember, but it's a lot running circles. So all of us cross country runners preferred doing cross country, like out in the open. But I don't know how to answer your question on how it's different for.
I think you got distracted by Mike popping out.
Oh, so Mike, hey Mike, here's our
finally, I got
so electricity go back on in Pasadena. You finally paid the bill, huh?
I finally paid the bill.
Okay, so we're talking to Anita here. So Mike, we'll let you do your commercial. There's a little commercial that Mike does for our sponsor.
Yeah, maybe better. Yeah, just adjust my stuff right here.
Okay. We'll give
No,
you
please, yeah. What was your question, Art?
Oh, I don't have a question.
Oh no, we're just because we kind of missed you, and you're the one that does the sponsor, the little commercial, so to speak.
Yeah. So hold on. Yeah, just continue with the conversation. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So
okay.
I'm having trouble answering your question, Noel. Like
No problem. So you answered
it's
like
different for everyone, you know.
yes. Well, because I noticed a lot of, so for example, my niece played basketball, but she also ran track. And then I have a friend now, his daughter also plays basketball, also runs track. So I guess that's a good, I guess because they're off season, so basketball season would be a different time from track. So I guess it's a good CrossFit type training.
Yeah, it's great conditioning. And like on our track team, we had a lot of football players, some soccer players that would join so that it would like condition them for the, you know, sprinting part of their sport.
Yeah.
So it was like not their main sport, but it helped them a lot in football or soccer or whatever.
Was it actually their choice to join you or the coach's order?
That's a great question. I think a lot of them did it based on recommendations, like strong recommendations by their coaches is what I would have to guess.
Yeah, because football, you need to sprint fast, right? If you're a running back, you know, you can play.
Yeah, but
even
in her
soccer,
case but in her case with long distance running, it's more about stamina. Because when you do like football or basketball, it's all about explosiveness.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you run track, I think it's actually more of like kinetics. I think that I'm basing my answer based on what I know about kinetics with regards to basketball and running, because they actually do different muscles. Maybe you can elaborate more on those technical
No, you're
stuff.
totally right, Mike, because we were talking about that. Noel had asked like what my recommendation would be to like kids who wanted to run. And I was telling them like I have no fast twitch muscles. I suck at sprinting, so I did high volume. So I did a lot of running at a slower pace. But like there was a girl who she and I ran the same times, but she ran a third of the miles I did, but it was more speed focused. So it's exactly what you're saying. It's kinetics focused, and you have to know which one you're good at, what you're looking for.
Because I was wondering about cross training. Do you really have to be in front of the pack right away, or you can just like pace yourself, and midway you can just like notice your competitors like if they're far ahead? So yeah, how do you manage that pace in that competition?
A really good question, because since I didn't have a kick, so in cross country in high school it's 3 miles, and I was great at maintaining the same speed. And what I started doing in my junior and senior years was in the middle I would drop a really fast 400 to break away from the pack. So I knew if I could break away, then I could sustain or even put more of a gap on. But like I had teammates who were great at sprinting, so they had a steady build, and the last 200 meters of the 3 miles they would sprint it in and pass a bunch of people. So if you are in a race, it's good to know what your competitor's strengths are. That way you build your strategy around your strength.
But the way you described it is like it's more of a team sport now, because some are good at sprinting and some are good at pacing. So this is not actually an individual sport. It's more of a team sport.
Yeah, it is. And I love hearing you say that, because I remember trying to explain to someone telling me that I had no idea about team sports because I ran and it's not a team sport. And I was like, no, you have no like conception of how much of a team sport it is. Like you have to do, even if you are training alone, you're training for your team. Like you are a part of a whole. But as a team, you also have a strategy when you're racing on, hey, we need you to finish in this chunk. So, you know, get your butt in gear and get it done.
Yeah. So other than cross country, have you participated in other track events? Because it's like the hurdles.
So,
like the hurdles. Which one? Yeah. No. Okay.
I haven't. I suck at the hurdles. I tried, and like I just don't have like I don't know what part of the brain requires jumping over the hurdles, but it doesn't work on mine. And then I remember I was pretty good at doing the long jump, and in high school I asked my coach if I could compete, and he was like, "No way! Like all you're gonna do is run. We're not gonna risk you like breaking a leg doing the long jump."
Okay.
So all I did was run.
They were protecting you. They don't want you to get injured.
Imagine like all I think of is all the fun I missed. I feel like long jumpers and high jumpers have so much fun.
What about the relay? You know how like they pass the baton?
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
I did do the relay. So in high school I did the 400, which I am horrible at, but I helped our high school 400 relay team. And then I also did the distance medley relay, which is one person runs 1 lap, one person runs 2 laps, one person runs 3, one person runs 4. And my senior year, I actually told my coach our team could make it to nationals. And we did go to nationals, but we didn't race because there was a rainstorm in North Carolina and we had to fly back and couldn't stay for the rescheduled.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where did they put you on the 4 lap?
Yeah, on the 4 lap.
Okay, before we continue, this talk show is made possible by Top Digital Studio, a digital marketing agency. Go to topdigitalstudio.com to learn more about how video creators are done right. And you can catch this episode of the show every Friday at 4 p.m. at mybalit.com. And please, if you can show us some love by liking this page, sharing it, and clicking that subscribe button. Okay, since you're done with your cross country career, now I wanna ask another evolution of your career. Maybe doing some triathlon, or have you considered participating in like Ironman events? Or
Oh,
Iron Women.
that was like my dream when I was a child, but I think you jumped on right after. I developed chronic fatigue syndrome at the end of college. So I had to do a lot of shift, and I was telling Noelle and Art, I got to a place where I can run again, but I run so slow now and so short where it's like not fun, because I used to go out for a 20-mile run, no problem. So like now when I can only go out for like a 20-mile jog, it's not the same. So now my Ironman is like doing an hour-long yoga session.
Oh, okay.
That's been my evolution, Mike.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned earlier North Carolina. So when you were at Stanford, I don't imagine in high school you would travel too much, but in Stanford, where were some of the places that you guys would actually travel to do the track meets?
Yeah, so in high school I didn't travel much. In high school I went to like Indiana and North Carolina. And in college we went to a few more places. We went to Iowa, Oregon, Washington. Oh, we would do indoor track races at UW, and that was fantastic. They had an amazing track, and I loved Seattle. Like, I loved the hotels we stayed at. I loved the people. I loved the food. It's a great city. We'd go to Arizona quite a bit. My favorite place we went to was Bangor, Maine, and we had a guy on the team that was from there who was like a local legend, and he actually is like a state senator now. But the coaches would plan a trip back, and there was an invitational, and then after the race there was a lobster bake. So they would they fresh lobster they had just caught, and they served it to us. But it was, to this day, I think it's still the best lobster I've had. And it was also just beautiful, like walking around by the beach, by the piers, and then obviously we stopped at like every restaurant and tried the lobster bisque. So that was really fun. I loved the Carolinas. We went to South Carolina in college. I thought it was amazing, and I just love Southern hospitality. Like, everyone was so nice. So yeah, we traveled quite a bit, but it was like it was typically like the same cities, because the same venues would host the meets.
Well, you mentioned the one in UW, Washington, was indoors. So is that something that's, I guess, not common? Most of them are probably outdoors as opposed to indoors?
Yeah, the US, I forget at that time how many indoor tracks there were, but there weren't many. And a lot of them, they would bring in these boards that they would attach. So it was like this wooden 100 to 200 yard tiny little circle. And then UW was the first one to have like a higher end facility that was 300 yards. So it was a lot more pleasant running indoors, because it was almost the same length as an outdoor one. And yeah, the facility was gorgeous at UW, and it was brand new, kind of like, it was state of the art. No other university had it, so it was a real treat running there.
So for Stanford, what school was your rival when you guys were doing all these meets? Did you have a rival?
Yeah, so Berkeley was our rival, and we had an annual like a big meet between us, and we'd alternate which school hosted it. And it was really fun, because I had mentioned Lauren, one of her other teammates, Alicia, had gone up to Cal, and now I think she holds the American record in the 800 meters. But it was fun, because there was, even though they were our rivals, it was still like it was really fun competing against them, because we all knew each other. It The camaraderie and the friendliness was really nice.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys would kind of get together or talk afterwards, right?
Yeah, we would, and hang out, get meals.
Has your former alma mater offered you to coach again, if ever?
They have not. My high school has asked me to do it, but it didn't like quite fit my schedule because they needed someone to be available all week, and I only had time on the weekends. So it's not something I've been able to do.
But you'd like to coach someday?
I don't think I have. Like, I think back to my coaches, and especially my high school coach. I think he is one of the most amazing coaches ever. And when I remember what snobby little pain in the butt I was, I don't have the patience he had.
Like the great ones do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the great ones do. Yep.
You know, I think it's funny because I think in general in sports, like I can talk more about basketball, but usually the players that are the best players or the better players are not necessarily the best ones at coaching because of that. They don't have the patience. They just expect the players to pick it up like they did. But you know, so yeah, I think that's a lot of it. So yeah, you gotta have that. Yes, that's very true. You gotta have the patience.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's it. I mean, time to wrap it up. Yeah, thanks for being with us, Miss Anita Siraki.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank
Anita.
you for joining us.
Guys, you guys are a blast.
All right. Yeah. So on behalf of me, Noel, Art, and Top Digital Studio, we'd like to thank you for your time. Oh, that's a
Wait, there's one of your. No, thank you.
Hello. Oh, it's a cute.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks, Bye.
Thank you,
Take care.
Anita.
Bye.